Now, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. This verse defines faith, emphasizes hope, and reminds us to trust the unseen. Today, I want to share something vulnerable that I feel somebody out there could relate to. Lately, I have been struggling with my faith. I was feeling very lost and uncertain. It is very hard to admit this, especially after the video trusting in God. But I have questioned God's presence and God's goodness. I had allowed myself to fall into the pit of doubt and uncertainty, failing to see God's light, but could only see troubles and trials. As someone who has always tried to encourage and uplift others, I couldn't find encouragement in self. I felt like a hypocrite sharing this, but I realized that my struggles can be a catalyst for connection and growth. I want to share my honest experience with spiritual warfare and how God has indeed pulled me out of the dark pit. If you are struggling too, know that you are not alone. Let's walk through this together. The Lord is near to the brokenhearted, and He shall save the crushed in spirit.
In this crazy life we live, we all need someone to hold, a friend to light the way.
Hebrews 10 verse 38. Now the just shall live by faith. But if any man draw back, my soul shall have no pleasure in him. Honestly, the past 2 weeks have been tough. I have felt disconnected from God, and I couldn't pray. Honestly, I couldn't pray. I had separated from my love and my peace, which meant my world was just cold and dark. Simple tasks felt overwhelming, and I would struggle to find joy in the things I loved. I was fearful and anxious. I felt so burdened, so worn out. I questioned whether God was still with me and if He is still good. It's hard to admit, but these thoughts consumed me. 2 weeks back, I had a dream. In the dream, I was standing facing towards the window. As I was looking, I heard this gruesome laugh, a very scary and mocking, just demonic laughter coming from outside the window. I couldn't see who or what was laughing because the window was covered with the curtain. But the laughter sent shivers down my spine. As I was standing there listening, I just began to pray. I prayed and I prayed. I paused and told the Spirit, "You can laugh now, but I shall have the last laugh." When I woke up, I was feeling really unsettled. But I kept on repeating these words, whether in my mind or uttering them out of my mouth, but I just kept on repeating the words, "You can laugh now, but I shall have the last laugh." Or maybe I did not have faith in the words. Maybe I did not believe them, because the laughter kept on haunting me. 2 Timothy 1 verse 7. For God did not give us the spirit of fear, but of power, of love, and self-discipline. The dream was just a beginning of my inner turmoil. I had allowed myself to be triggered, to be fearful. I felt the mockery, the ridicule, and I couldn't escape it. I felt shame. I felt so discouraged by everything, and I questioned God in everything. As days and days passed by and I was faced with different challenges, I just found myself being so negative about everything. I started to question my faith. My insecurities and fears were very much triggered. The Bible instructs us in Philippians 4 verse 6 to 7. Be careful for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication, with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known unto God. And the peace of God, which passeth all understanding, shall keep your hearts and minds through Jesus Christ. Finally, I went to God in prayer. I surrendered. I gave everything to Him. I cried and poured my heart out to Him. Those trials and tribulations, I gave to Him. My fears, my insecurities, my weaknesses, my pain, I handed everything to Him. The doubts, the uncertainty, I surrendered it all. I let go of control. I let go of just analyzing everything. Why does God do this? Why does God do that? But actually acknowledge, the thing that I've been preaching, that His mind is not like mine. His thoughts are not my thoughts. His way of doing things are not my way. God heard me and He came to my rescue and He touched my heart, and the peace that I just felt was so far away from me. I was surrounded by it. I cried, but now I wasn't crying because of doubts and uncertainty and just being lost, but I was crying because I could feel His presence. I was crying because I could feel Him, and it was just so beautiful. Evil presence is real. Spiritual warfare is very real, but we must never lose sight of goodness. We must never lose sight of goodness. 1 Peter 5 verse 7. God says, cast all your anxiety on Him because He cares for you. What a comforting promise. God invites us to cast our burdens, to come with Him with our anxieties, and He shall lift us up. He shall sustain us. He shall keep us from being shaken. May this truth bring you peace and strength. God is with us and He will vindicate us in due time. People's opinions and laughter is fleeting, but God's validation and approval is eternal. God is our constant companion, guiding and uplifting us. Let's keep proclaiming faith and declare God's promises in our lives. I shall have the last laugh, for I do
God
not
is always
walk
present,
alone.
even in the darkest moments. He hears our prayers and understands our struggles. He is able to uplift us out of hopelessness and despair. Feeling a sense of disconnection or incompleteness in your spiritual journey, in your faith, is a very common experience. You find that people in the Bible, men of God, powerful men of God, went through disconnection. Job, David. It is a common experience, especially when we are seeking a deeper understanding of ourselves and our relationship with God. Here are things that you can consider when feeling disconnected from God. Psalm 138 verse 8, the Lord will fulfill his purpose for me. We do not need to have all the answers. It is okay to have questions and uncertainty. Trusting God means moving forward even when we don't have all the answers. Psalm 23 verse 4, even though I walk through the darkest valley, I shall fear no evil, for you are with me. God's silence doesn't mean he's absent. Sometimes God is silent because he is working behind the scenes for all his children. Trust his presence even in silence. 2 Timothy 2 verse 13, if we are faithless, he remains faithful. Focus on God's character, not your circumstances. When circumstances are tough, focus on God's character, promises, and faithfulness. 1 Peter 5 verse 7, cast all your anxiety unto him. Practice surrender and release. Let go of control and outcomes. Surrender your worries, your fears, your doubts to God and trust him to work everything out. Psalm 77 verse 11 to 12. I'll remember the works of the Lord. Surely I will remember thy wonders of old. I will meditate also of all thy work and talk of thy doings. Remember God's faithfulness in the past. Reflect on times when God has been faithful and trustworthy in your life. This can build confidence in his trustworthiness. Through this struggle, I've learned that faith is not absence of doubt, but trusting despite uncertainty. Healing is a journey, and it's okay to take time. And also self-awareness and inner reflection are very much crucial. Sometimes you need to just look back and reflect. What caused this sense of disconnection? Is it lack of consistency? Are you reading God's word regularly? Or depth of understanding? Are you reading the words, or do you just ponder and reflect on what you are reading? Your personal relationship with God, you have to be honest. Are you reading about God? Are you actively engaging in personal relationship with him through prayer, journaling, or other practices? Building a two-way connection can help you feel more complete. We have to ask ourselves, are you leaning on expectations? Sometimes we expect specific outcomes, feelings or experience, and feel very disappointed if it is not happening. Let go of expectations and focus on the journey. You need to reflect. Are you in a season of growth? You need to ask yourself, are you in a season of growth where things might feel uncertain or uncomfortable? This is
If you are struggling in faith, know that you are not alone. Acknowledge your pain, your struggle, your fears, but do not let them dictate your decisions. Healing is a journey, and inner reflection is crucial. When the world seems uncertain, pray. Talk to God. Take it all to Him through prayer. Psalm 32 verse 8, He said, I will instruct thee and teach thee in the way which you shall go. I will guide thee with mine eyes. Hold on to hope. God is still good, still loving, and still with us. His ways are higher than our ways, and His plans are always for our good. Keep holding on to Him, and He will carry you through every storm. And when the sun shines bright again, you will look back and see how His plans unfolded in ways you never thought possible.